So what are the benefits of the Metabolic Restart Program? So some of the benefits that you can achieve with the Metabolic Restart Program include your body learns to burn fat that are relying on sugar as its main fuel source. This means over a short period of time, you start to lose weight, you start to lose body fat, and you start to get definition at waistline. Because you're getting great nutrition, your body is operating better, your energy levels are amazing. Struggling with sleep? Not with Metabolic Restart. It's amazing for giving you a great night's sleep. With Metabolic Restart, not only is your body operating at its peak performance, so is your immune system, and we know how important that is nowadays. A big benefit to Metabolic Restart is you're not doing it on your own. You're working with one of the Body Street personal trainers. They're going to walk you through the 9 days and beyond to help and support you, making sure that you achieve the goals you're looking for. So you've heard the benefits. When do you want to get started?
I'm here today to talk to you about the Metabolic Restart campaign that we're going to be running, and specifically the results of a study that was completed in Germany in 2023. So anybody who takes on the Metabolic Restart 9-day program will have different motivations for why they want to do it, the results that they want to achieve, and their reasons basically for completing the 9 days. So before we have a look at what the 9 days consists of, its benefits and how it's completed, I'd like to share with you the results of the study, specifically on the blood level parameters that were tested, because there are some really phenomenal results actually in the positive impact that the metabolic restart has on the body itself, the gut, the intestines, the digestive system. So the metabolic restart was created by a guy in Germany known as Roy Eppel. He's a sports scientist, he's a nutritionist, he's a personal trainer, a health coach. He owns Body Street fitness studios. And what's really insane is that the results that are achieved from the metabolic restart program created by Roy are that they're not achieved over 2, 3, 4 months. They're achieved in the 9-day period, which is a really short amount of time to see the results that we do see. So some background information on the study. The study was completed in November 2023, and they looked at blood parameter levels from 28 participants, 18 of which were women, 10 of which were men, and the average age was 47 years. The biomarkers that were measured in the blood are those that you can see on your screens now. So we looked at glucose in the sense of fasting, which is the amount of sugar in the blood and can be a really good indicator of the risk of diabetes. Total cholesterol, so this was a combination of what's referred to as both bad and good cholesterol in your blood, and cholesterol is basically fat lipids that are carried around. The gamma GT, this is an enzyme, and basically the higher the levels of this enzyme, the greater the risk is of liver disease. So we're looking to reduce these so that we're starting that process of detoxification and reducing the risk of liver disease. They specifically looked at LDL cholesterol, which is known as bad cholesterol. It's the low density. They looked at insulin, which is another hormone produced by the pancreas, which helps to move blood glucose from your bloodstream to create energy. So the less energy that we have, the less metabolizing that our body can do. It looked at triglycerides, which is a type of fat that can promote the risk of heart disease. And finally, it looked at the HOMA index, which tells you how much insulin your body needs to be able to keep your blood sugar levels in check. So this can help to identify early levels of diabetes. So let's take a look at the results that was followed. So it's really important to mention firstly that there is a weight loss identified. So on average in this particular study, 3.5 kilos of weight loss was recognized, which is an insane amount in a 9-day period. What's really important to remember is whilst this can be a program for weight loss and has been designed to promote weight loss because of the increase in metabolism, the actual bigger benefits that you will see of losing weight and specifically reducing body fat are going to come after the 9-day period. The 9 days is about getting your body into that zone of being able to efficiently and effectively burn fat, which comes back to these blood parameter levels that we're going to look at. All of these changes contribute to a healthy metabolism and therefore weight loss following the 9 days. So on your screen here, you can see significant improvements in glucose, insulin, and the HOMA index levels. The reductions in all of those indicate a risk of a lower lower risk of diabetes. So this is really, really positive in actually bringing our body back to its balance levels, back to what's considered normal levels for your body, and taking away that risk of developing type 2 diabetes. This shows that the metabolic restart is sensible and efficient in a measure against insulin resistance. Next up, we have the gamma GT and the cholesterol levels. Again, reductions in both of these, significant reductions after the 9 days. So this shows that there is a progression in the fight against fatty liver disease. So when we talk about detoxifying the liver, detoxifying the gut and the intestines and digestion improvements, we're really looking at doing that from a blood parameter level. This is going to reduce the effect of non-alcohol induced fatty liver disease, which is a really, really good indicator of improved gut health. We looked at cholesterol and triglyceride levels as well. So bringing down those blood lipid levels can have a really positive effect on cholesterol, meaning that we are reducing the effect of reducing the risk of heart diseases so early on. Again, just within the 9 days. So we can see here that from a blood parameter level, this study demonstrates how useful the metabolic restart is for putting a complete reset on how our body processes, how our body metabolizes, and the real need to actually do a detoxification and do a cleanse on our gut so that we can get our body back to the state that it should be in to be able to have successful fat burning and therefore achieving fat loss after the 9 days. We also looked at some qualitative results whereby they looked at would the program be recommended, the satisfaction of the program, and actually the craving of sugar as well. So we can see here that there was a real high rate of recommendation and satisfaction with the program, showing that those that completed it were happy with the results that they achieved. Whether that was for gut health improvement, whether that was for weight loss, they were happy with the effects felt on their body and the results that they saw in the study. They also looked at sugar craving for sweets and whether this was reduced or not. And as we can see here, on more occasions than not, actually that sugar craving was reduced. And the reason for that is because we have stabilized blood sugar levels. We're not getting those peaks and troughs that we would otherwise be getting. And therefore our desire or our craving to have something sweet, have something sugary to increase our energy levels has actually been reduced. They also looked at the sensitivity to sugar and sweetness after the 9 days as well, and found that actually the sensitivity was increased and therefore they didn't need as many sugary foods to fulfill that craving. So whilst we are trying to maintain good habits, that's not to say that we won't ever go back and fall into old ways, but it shows that our body can adapt and adjust to better ways of doing it. So in conclusion, it can be said that the metabolic restart is great for the prevention and elimination of metabolic syndrome. It's really good for boosting our metabolism, and it's great for being able to reduce the risk of diseases, specifically diabetes and heart disease. The change in diet and the intake of the qualitative, high quality metabolic drinks shows that there's a lasting effect on insulin sensitivity and therefore bringing down the desire for sugar cravings. It helps overall on a blood parameter level to improve things such as cholesterol, triglycerides, and therefore it can help us to reduce the amount of fatty lipids there are in the blood. There was a positive weight reduction of 3.5 kilos. Again, to reiterate, just across that 9-day period is where that 3.5 kilos was seen, which is going to help reduce the risk of liver disease. So therefore, it's a real optimal tool to be able to balance our gut and put us in a healthy step forwards. So before we get into what the 9 days look like, I think it's a good opportunity to share with you a testimonial from one of our users who explains why he decided to take part in the Metabolic Restart program and the benefits that he received upon completing the 9-day program.
This is my secret about how I've lost over a stone and kept it off. So if you're like me and you've lost weight, but you just can't get to your target weight, one thing you may want to check is your metabolic age, the age your body's working at, not your physical age, but what it's working at. My last Body Street session, I had a body scan, and that showed that my metabolic age was 57. And with that knowledge, that's when I decided to do something about it and start the Metabolic Restart Program. So what's the Metabolic Restart Program? Well, first of all, it's not a diet. It's not a calorie reduction. It's all about increasing and having really high quality nutrition. You simply have 3 shakes, 1 in the morning, 1 at lunchtime, and 1 in the evening, and you combine that with some food, eating a lunch and an evening meal every day for 9 days. And wow, what a change. So I started my journey just before my summer holiday. I made a decision I wanted to slim a bit, and so I focused on those 9 days. I followed the program, and at the end of it, I dropped nearly half a stone, and I was pretty pleased. But something strange happened. Whilst I was taking the metabolic program, my body shape was changing. But after the program, I continued to lose weight. Every week, I was losing a few more pounds and a few more pounds and a few more pounds, to the point where I got to, instead of hitting my target weight, which was losing a stone, I drop into about 12.5 stone. I'm now just over 12 stone. My metabolic age has dropped to 45. I've lost over 18 pounds, almost all of that being body fat. Gone off, and it stayed off.
Now that we have evidence that the metabolic restart works and it is successful, let's have a look at the actual benefits of the 9-day program. So first of all, it's easy to use, it's easy to implement. Preparing the drinks is really easy, it takes no time at all, and there's very little food that you have in addition to the shakes. So the process of actually meal prepping for the 9 days is really simple. It's easy for anybody to follow. It's suitable for everyday use. You don't need to change much around in your day-to-day life. So if you've got a business meeting to attend or you've got celebrations, you can still attend those occasions and not be put out by having to eat a different type of food or anything specifically. There's no yo-yo effect because you're not in a huge calorie deficit. You're not going to get this up and down in your weight loss and in how your metabolism works. So we're going to hit a plateau. We're trying really hard to avoid that yo-yo effect. By doing that, we keep a constant intake of calories. There is a great cleanse out for our bowel, for our liver, for our intestines. So this is really beneficial for actually having a complete gut cleanse and a fresh start for how your body works. Eating a lot of meals throughout the day costs our body a lot of energy to be able to digest every single meal that we eat. So actually reducing the amount of times that we have food throughout the day and limiting it to the 3 occasions where we have the 3 shakes, actually just the 2 occasions where we have food, our bodies are much better at metabolizing the food and the liquid food that we put into our body, hence why the metabolism can really start boosting. From this, you'll see that actually the energy levels can be used elsewhere. So our body has got better energy. We're sleeping a lot better as well to add to that, but more energy to be able to do other things in life, do the things that we enjoy, because our body doesn't need to use that energy on metabolizing and burning fats. So let's take a look now at what the 9 days consist of exactly. Day 1 is your loading day. And as you can see on the diagram here, you are eating and consuming liquid on 4 occasions: breakfast, lunch, afternoon, and evening. On the loading day and the loading day only, you will consume complex carbohydrates. Now, these carbohydrates can be in the forms of chestnuts, sweet potatoes, brown rice, pumpkin, oats. Make the most of having the carbohydrates on this day, because for the remaining 8 days, we eliminate carbohydrates completely. So you're going to consume carbohydrates on 3 of the meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Alongside lunch and dinner, you're also going to have your 2 portions of vegetables as well. And you're going to have your 2 portions of protein. So on this day, you're looking to consume a minimum of 1,800 calories, but you're also looking to have an extra 300 calories. So typically speaking, whatever your typical daily intake is, you want 300 calories more than what your usual calorie consumption might be. The reason for this is because we are encouraging our body to release the hormone leptin, which is really important for satiety and really important for releasing other hormones, which will stimulate fat burning. The next day is a fasting day. So being able to load on this day, provide our body with the complex carbohydrates, release these hormones to stimulate fat burning, puts us in a really good stead to produce other hormones moving forward from tomorrow that will help the fat burning the metabolism moving forwards. Top tips for this day is that you should be doing 2 workouts. One should be your EMS session in the studio, and one should be an at-home HIIT workout. All of your HIIT workouts you can access by scanning the QR code on your checklist, and this will take you to 10-minute workouts. And there's 3 different versions that you can do. And the idea of these is that every single day you're getting your body moving, you're making your body active. Every single day, you should also aim to consume 30 milliliters per kilo of body weight. So hydration is going to play a really important factor in all of this by curbing any hunger that you might feel. And it's also important to remember sometimes you might feel hungry, but actually you're thirsty. So resorting to giving yourself a drink before you have any extra snacks, any extra food, might just curb that feeling of hunger. You can drink coffee on the program, so you can have 2 to 3 coffees per day, but please try and have your coffees no later than 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And the reason for this is because we really want to limit that caffeine intake so that we can get a good night's sleep. Day 2 is the fasting day. And this obviously will be probably the toughest day of the 9 days. And the reason for this is because we're not actually going to consume any solid foods. So again, on the diagram on the left-hand side here, you can see we are skipping breakfast, and that's to extend the night fast to create that intermittent fasting. We're going to break that fast at lunchtime with a Cell Pure drink. No carbohydrates, no protein, no vegetables. We then wait till the evening where we have just the Cell Pure drink again. So the only thing we consume on this day is the 2 Cell Pure drinks. The reason for this is because now our bodies are releasing the hormones to be able to implement fat burning. And by having this fasting day following the loading day, our body can use the energy that we've put into it to start metabolizing, start that energy process of burning fats. On this day in particular, really important to highlight that the most preferable time to do your HIIT workout would be first thing in the morning. As always, doing your HIIT session first thing while in that fasted period, you actually can get optimum results and get more benefit out of your workout. But specifically on this fasting day, come the afternoon, you might be feeling a little bit lethargic, a little bit of fatigue kicking in. So you might not have as much energy to be able to put into your workout. So actually doing that first thing when you've still got the energy from your loading day the day before, you're going to get more benefit from your session. Most important thing to remember on this day is your end goals. Think about why you started the metabolic restart process. What is it that you're looking to achieve? What's the benefits that you will achieve? And keep yourself distracted with things that you enjoy to stop that urge to want to eat and the desire to consume any food. Day 3 here is repeated again on day 6 and on days 9. And your day looks like this. We have 3 shakes at breakfast, at lunch, and at dinner. We also consume 2 portions of vegetables, and we have those at lunch and dinner. And we consume 1 portion of protein, which on days 3, 6, and 9, you can have in the form of meat, fish, or eggs, or tempeh, or tofu, and you're having this with your evening meal. So we're reintroducing protein at this stage, and we're reintroducing our vegetables. The reason for this is because this is what's going to keep our metabolism going. It's going to feed our body enough calories to stay in that fat burning zone. If you're not specifically looking to lose weight, you can absolutely increase the amount of vegetables so that you're increasing your calorie intake and you're not going to be in a massive deficit. However, please keep the protein intake as it's described in the brochure, which is 100 to 150 grams. Days 4, 5, and 8 are identical to each other as well. And the difference here is that instead of having a solid portion of protein with your evening meal, you're going to replace that with an amino acid drink, and you're going to have this in the afternoon. So you're still consuming a similar amount of calories, you're still consuming a similar amount of protein, but we're just having it in a different formation. So moving forwards, we can see day 5 is a repeat of day 4, day 6 is a repeat of day 3, day 7 a repeat of day 4, day 8 also a repeat of day 4, and day 9 is a repeat of day 3.
So the metabolic restart has 3 drinks. Why? So our morning drink is the gold one. The gold drink's got your vitamin Bs, it's got your omegas, your 3, your 6, your 7, your 9. Basically, it's like the fire-up system to get you going first thing in the day. Your lunchtime drink is the green drink. So the green drink, lunchtime, this is packed full of chlorophyll and also natural wheatgrass. So this drink helps develop new blood cells to be formed, which also then helps increase the oxygenation of your body, helping your metabolism speed up. And at tea time or evening time, we've got our red drink. So the metabolic program doesn't have 1, 2, but 3 different types of food sources. Why? Because we need a balanced diet, and this gives you a high nutritional content and being balanced too. And as well as the drinks, the 3 drinks, you also got MCT oil. MCT oil is designed to help the body again burn fat and help with your liver function.
Another element of the metabolic 9-day restart program is the everyday checklist. And this includes biohacks that you should aim to do, all of them on every day. The more that you can do, the better results that you will see. So I'm going to talk you through what each of them might look like. So number 1, on top of your fluid intake of your water and the Cell Pure drinks, you should aim to drink 200 to 500 milliliters of warm tea, green tea, white tea. You can also have lemon water, lime water with a tiny little bit of salt. And the reason for this specifically is that because they all have health promoting properties. They're fantastic antioxidants, which help to speed up the metabolism and therefore great to increase growth hormone factors within the brain, which are going to help incorporate the fat burning process as well. They will also help to quench thirst between meals. As I've already mentioned, sometimes we think we're hungry when actually we can just be thirsty. So really increasing our fluid intake through these fluid options can help us to stabilize any desire for food by quenching our thirst as our first port of call. The second one is sleep, and as a general rule of thumb, everybody should aim to have between 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. When we're sleeping, this is our body's opportunity to repair and recover, and this is where we're going to see our body's changes taking place. So it won't be during the exercise that we do, it won't be during the food that we eat, but actually during this recovery phase, during the night time, where our body can start to fast, where our metabolism can actually start increasing, that our body will start to adapt and make the changes that we're looking to achieve during this 9-day program. One tip with this rule, and the thing that you should be aiming to tick off as a biohack, is to not snooze that alarm in the morning. It is so easy when that alarm goes off to think, I'm just going to have another 10 minutes and another 10 minutes and another 10 minutes. But in actual fact, that's not enough time to go back to the deep sleep phase. So essentially, you're not actually getting much benefit by snoozing the alarm. You would be much better off just turning the alarm off and getting up and getting on with your day. You're going to feel fresher, you will feel more alert, and it's going to put you in really good stead for a successful day right from the second that you wake up. Next one on the checklist is cold showers or cold exposure. So exposure to the cold will stimulate your cells, and therefore it will stimulate mitochondria within the cells. They cause more white storage fat tissue to be converted into heat generating brown fat tissue. So when the mitochondria, which is in the brown fat tissue, converts to heat energy to try and warm our body up after being exposed to the cold, it's going to start burning our white storage fat. So in essence, actually exposing our bodies to the cold by having cold baths, cold showers, we are metabolizing, we're kickstarting that fat burning process. So yeah, having a cold shower can burn fat. Next on the checklist is a keto coffee. So how you make a keto coffee is by mixing the MCT oil with your regular coffee. This might be a nice addition to have after your lunch. So it's quite common around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We feel a little bit of a slump. We might feel a little bit fatigued, a little bit lethargic, a little bit less motivated to carry on with our working day. And usually this is because we get a drop at this point in our blood sugar levels. So because we consume quite a hefty meal at lunchtime, our body is working really hard using the energy to digest that food, and we might get that little bit of a dip. Now, because we're improving the food quality and the nutrient dense food that we eat at lunchtime, over time, we won't get that afternoon slump. But while our body starts to adapt to that, you might find it beneficial to have a keto coffee to give yourself that little bit of a caffeine boost, to pick yourself up a little bit, regain that focus. MCT oil is used exclusively for energy production. So by including this in your afternoon coffee, you're just adding extra bonuses for fat burning. So why not try keto coffee in the afternoon? Next up on the checklist is apple cider vinegar. And this biohack asks you to have 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in a glass of water before lunch or dinner. Now, firstly, having a glass of water before you consume a meal will help to initially quench that thirst, as we've already talked about, but it will also help to give you a little bit of fullness so that your body knows when to stop eating food. It's going to prevent you from overeating. The apple cider vinegar helps to improve our insulin sensitivity. So this means that insulin production is lower after our food intake, and therefore we have less fluctuations in our blood sugar levels, which means we're less likely to get peaks and drops in tiredness and sugar cravings. Overall, our body's metabolism will stay as a plateau and continue to burn fat. Also on the checklist is drinking enough fluid. So 30 millilitres of water per kilo of body weight is the recommended daily intake as an absolute minimum. If you're exercising, if your body is sweating and releasing water and fluid, you should aim to consume more water than this as your minimum. This is really, really important because we've got to replenish those muscles with water so that our muscles can grow in mass, and in turn, that's going to help to diminish the fat. Also on the checklist is the breathing 2 times per day. I'm going to talk in just a second about the bulk test and a way that you can start to measure how your metabolism is improving through the breathing techniques. Last on the checklist is your interval workouts. So you will get a checklist with your pack. You can scan the QR code and this will bring up body weight sessions that you can complete at home, 10 minutes long, so you can easily fit these into your day. And doing a HIIT workout every day is what's going to help to keep that metabolism burning, even on the days where you have a more restful day. So to repeat, ticking off as many of these biohacks as possible during the 9-day period is what's going to help you get the absolute optimum results during the metabolic restart process over the next 9 days. One of the biohacks on the checklist that you tick off every day is the bulk test. And this requires some breathing practice, some breathing techniques that ideally you should be looking to complete every single day to see the improvements that you can make. So the bulk test is a test of how well you can hold your breath after exhaling. And your results will indicate actually how good your metabolism currently is. So on your screens here, you can see the chart aiming from 5 to 10 seconds all the way up to plus 40 seconds. And this gives you an indicator of sort of where you might be sitting at the minute, dependent on what your hold time is. So how it works, you breathe in and you breathe out through your nose 3 times. After the 3rd exhalation, you hold your breath for as long as possible. At the start, this might be a really short amount of time, and that's okay, because that gives us an indicator of how well our metabolism is working and the things that we need to do to improve our metabolism that we can be doing on top of the metabolic restart. If you already present that you can hold your breath for a good amount of seconds, so anything from kind of 35 seconds onwards, indicates that you do already have a fairly good metabolism, and doing the metabolic restart process will simply enhance that for you. What we're looking at here is the return of carbon dioxide on the expenditure of oxygen. So our body needs oxygen to be able to circulate the blood around the body and keep our processes in place. We can only do that if we've got enough CO2 to engage with that return. If we're not breathing enough CO2 out, our body hasn't got the ability to keep the oxygen flowing through to the blood, through the oxygen, through to our muscles. So it's really important that we learn to practice this breathing technique on a daily basis through the program, looking to achieve 40 seconds towards those 9 days. It's also a good indicator that the process is working for you. So now that we've had a look at everything that we do complete during the 9-day program, it's also important to highlight things that are absolute don'ts during the 9 days. So the first one is no starchy foods. So even on our complex carbohydrate day, on the loading day, we still want to steer clear from starchy foods, and that's things such as carrots and potatoes, for example. And the reason being is that because they don't give much to our body, they don't provide our body with as much energy as simple carbohydrates do. So we want to make sure our calories are coming from really well-nutritioned foods. We're going to eliminate sugar from our diet for 9 days as well. So this includes any form of sweeteners. So we're going to take away any snacks that might include sugar, any drinks that might include sugar, just stay clear of it for the 9-day period. Over time, as we saw in the study, your body will have less of a desire for those sweet cravings as well, and your sensitivity will increase, meaning you won't need as much of the sugary content food if you do get a craving for it beyond the 9 days again. No soft drinks, no fruit juices, especially no fizzy drinks. Again, because lots of these do have a high sugar content or high caffeine content. We just want to be consuming the fluid from the Cell Pure drinks. Plenty of water. You've got the option of green tea, white tea, lemon or lime salt water. And you've obviously also got your ketone coffees as well. So try and eliminate any other fluids from your diet. No bakery products. So again, this goes back to the sugar one. So we're not going to be having any sort of pastry foods. Little or no fruit. And again, the reason for this is just that simply it will increase that sugar intake, and we want our body to use fat as the fuel source as opposed to sugar. So the less sugar we put into our bodies, the more it will force our body to use fat as that energy burning process. No convenience foods. So take advantage of the opportunity of having very little to prepare. It's just vegetables that you're cooking. On occasions, it's adding an extra version of protein to that as well. But no takeaways, no fast foods. No refined salt. So when you're adding any herbs or spices, we're not adding any salt. Please don't add any dressings to salads or vegetables that may contain salt as well. We're trying to eliminate that. And absolutely no alcohol during the 9-day period. For this reason, because simply it will have a high level of carbohydrates and it will definitely have a high level of sugar as well. And of course, we've already mentioned we're trying to eliminate the intake of those.
One question I'm always asked, how quick is it going to work? Over the first 9 days, you're going to see some weight loss, but don't be surprised if it's not really quick. Your body needs to be re-educated and stop burning sugar and start burning fat. But within the first 9 days, you should lose 2 to 4 kg of body fat. But the real secret is the afterburn, the continued burning of fat. So in the weeks after you've completed the metabolic restart, your body continues, because now it's been taught how to burn fat, it keeps burning it. So you keep losing more and more and more weight. Take my example. Started off at about 13.5 stone, dropped to about 12.10, 12.11 just before my holiday. Put it on over holiday, but my body kept burning fat. So after the holiday, I dropped down to almost 12 stone, 12 stone 1. Are you ready to get started? Visit us at bodystreet.co.uk.